got fast cars from the back, championship contenders in the middle, Penske's up front. Here we go! Green from Gateway, and Scott McLaughlin in the red and white car has the early jump.
McLaughlin looking great up front, and it's Newgarden and Will Power teammates side by side as Power goes to the high side.
All clean through 1 and 2 as they funnel down the back straight. Easy for McLaughlin in, but side by side further back, that's the pink, white, and black machine of Kyle Kirkwood on the bottom. Paddle Ward riding up top in the black and orange McLaren.
McLaughlin leads the first lap. Challenge right now for seconds, and Will Power has moved up to second. Colton Herta, by the way, has already picked up 6 spots on 1 lap.
Let's take a look at how Colton Herta handles the start from the back. Just listen. Oh, that was so close, 4 wide, but he still wants more.
Side by side, Kirkwood, and they almost touched.
They did touch. I saw a puff of smoke there. Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden was making a move on Malukas, trying to make it a Penske 1-2-3, but here comes Malukas back.
Back to second around Will Power, splitting up the Penskes.
And that's Ericsson around the outside of Newgarden, side by side. Absolutely nothing between them. Great move from Ericsson. Newgarden kind of balked on the inside there on that low lane, and the caution is out.
Catherine Legg and Ed Carpenter.
Here's what happened.
Not sure what led up to this, James, but it looked like Ed thought he was clear of Catherine, maybe making a pass to the outside. I'm not sure, but somehow the 51 and the 20 get together.
And David Malukas is in front.
Power and Malukas pull away, and here comes Newgarden. Oh! Is that Daly or is that Grosjean?
It's Connor Daly. Making his debut with Huko's Hollinger Racing, his 11th IndyCar team, announced this week. Here is how David Malukas got the lead from Scott McLaughlin.
McLaughlin looks like he was saving fuel, guys.
I was going to say, if they just decided that, okay, we know what kind of fuel burn we have to try to make this on 4 stops. Meanwhile, further back, I think this is what led to the issue. Rinus VeeKay getting crossed up, and then Grosjean gets into the back of Connor Daly.
Kirkwood gets in the back of Kirkwood, who gets into the back of Connor Daly. That second lane is definitely opening up as we see Will Power now wanting to challenge Malukas for the lead down into turn 3. He's going to get it easily.
And with that, welcome to a already off the rails Push to Pass podcast on this Tuesday. I am Derik Vance, and you see joining me this evening. He is a little under the weather, but he is gutting it out to say the least. You see Michael is here as well. Josh has a prior commitment that he is not going to be able to this evening, and yes, I know I screwed up on the intro. I got it done as quickly as I could, actually about 7:50, and you see what happens when you rush your work. So definitely my apologies for that, but we will discuss this year's, as I stress, this year's Bommarito Automotive Group 500 here as we unpack what was an exciting and eventful race there on Sunday night under the lights. Gotta love that. Also, joining us this evening at the bottom half of hour number 1 is going to be current INDY NXT by Firestone points leader driver Dennis Hauger is going to join us around 8:30. Can't wait for that to talk to the young driver there for Andretti Global. Also, like I said, we will recap and discuss what was an exciting race there Sunday night under the lights right outside of St. Louis. Also, we'll have we have a race this coming weekend at Road America, so we'll preview that as well. Like we always do after a race, I'll give my 5 takeaways. Not sure if Michael has his winners and losers segment ready. If he does, we will discuss that as well. Then, like I said, we'll preview Road America this weekend with not only our betting segment there, but give you a first look at the weather that's going to take place this weekend at Road America as well. But before we get to all of that, let's bring in Michael Monroe. Michael, how was your weekend and how's your day?
Well, it was eventful last week a little bit after our show last week. I don't know, anyone in the area probably knows there was about 3 inches of water that just fell from the sky right over my neck of the woods. So we were flooded. We've been pushing water out of the garage. I'm pretty sure my dryer vent hose has about a foot of water in it. So we're just we're up the creek here at my house trying to get water out. But apart from that, everything's good. Slight migraine going on. So bear with me here as I'm trying to deal with all the lights.
Yeah, it definitely seems like you have a lot going about the pool, I guess, that is in your basement. Hopefully you're able to get that taken care of and everything is. Let's talk about and discuss what we did this past weekend inside of St. Louis, Madison, Illinois, to be exact. It was the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at the World Wide Technology Raceway. Like I said, right outside of Madison, or right inside Madison, Illinois, but right outside St. Louis and those Mystique arches, the arch that we see there in St. Louis. First and foremost, I'm going to go over my 5 takeaways. Definitely can't wait to hear what Michael has to say about them. And then we'll give you the results, the up-to-date point standings. If he has the column ready, we'll go over winners and losers. And then I would say we'll do race picks this week, but Josh isn't here to gloat, so we may have to bypass that till next week. But getting into my 5 takeaways. First and foremost, I want to say from the show, congratulations again. Obviously, goes out to Kyle Kirkwood and the whole number 27 Siemens Honda Andretti Global crew for collecting back-to-back wins after their win Sunday night at World Wide Technology Raceway and at the Bommarito Automotive Group 5. It has to be if you are a fan of the bow tie engine manufacturer, you gotta be questioning yourself and your engine manufacturer right now. Obviously, I think we're all in agreement that the 2025 NPT IndyCar Series has been somewhat of a nightmare for Chevrolet. And after Sunday's race, obviously the nightmare continued. Now, going into qualifying, Chevrolet was able to lock down the first 5 spots, but unfortunately, the race unveiled a different story. You had 3 of the bow tie cars retire, and again, Chevrolet did finish in position P2, where it seems like they've been all year long. Now, Chevrolet, to their credit, has had a lock on the Engine Manufacturers Championship for the last 3 seasons, but obviously that's got to be in big jeopardy after Sunday night's race. Michael, question is, will Chevrolet be able to even capture 1 win in the 2025 season, or will we continue to see the dominant Indian manufacturer there in Honda?
You know, I was for sure the guy that thought Chevy was going to get it done this weekend. I mean, you look at Newgarden, you look at Power, McLaughlin, Pato Award. I mean, those are 4 heavy hitters that drive Chevys, and they're really good on ovals. And throw in another guy, Connor Daly, and even Santino Ferrucci. All of those guys are super impressive on ovals, and they just can't seem to get it done. They're running good. They're just not running good enough. And they're fast in 1-lap runs or 2-lap runs or 4-lap runs, as we seen at Indy. they're just not. They're just missing something in the race. Whether it's a little bit more power, whether it's fuel, there's just something that just seems off. And I mean, if it was a couple of races in, I would be, okay, it's just a little, glitch. But I mean, we're several races in now to the season, and Chevy still doesn't have a win. I'm sure everyone over there at Chevy and all the teams that run Chevy Power is like, when can we get a win? What do we need to do to get a win?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I know we both spoke with a Chevy representative a few weeks back, and I think the same thing you just said there is what they told us. What do we have to do to buy a win at this point? So hopefully Chevy is able to pull something out. But right now, I'm as much as a bow tie guy as I am, I'm fearful towards this season. I mean, you're halfway done and you have 0 wins. You're getting your tail kicked by Honda week in and week out. So definitely something has to change over there in the Chevrolet camp. My fourth takeaway, to the other Indian manufacturer, Honda. I mean, what else, Michael? What else can you say? 8 races, 8 wins in 2025. How much more perfect can an Indian manufacturer be? Now, I know that obviously the 8 wins have came between 2 different drivers, but I was always told a win's a win no matter who it is. Honda has been the dominant force, and like we just talked about, I'm not sure how and if Chevrolet is going to be able to stop them. Also, Honda is seeking their first Indian manufacturer championship since 2021. And obviously, they are well on their way with a commanding 148-point lead over Chevrolet in those aforementioned engine manufacturer championship standings. Michael, does Honda have the engine manufacturer championship locked up in 8 races, 8 wins?
It certainly looks that way, but racing is fun. Racing's fun. We already know that Dixon's taken an additional engine over 5, so that could be, they're producing a lot of horsepower and a lot of power, but if they start braking and they're starting to take grid penalties every week for drivers, and that could throw a wrench in it. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye on that looking forward. But Honda, I mean, they're just on it right now. I remember back, we talked to that Chevy exec, and we talked about back, I think it was 2014, 2015 when they dominated a season. So that's what's cool about motorsports. It's always a cycle. It's always reciprocal. So we'll just have to continue to see. But right now, Honda's got something figured out, and while they keep going, just keep watching. And it'd be different if it was one team, but it's 2 different teams. It's 2 different teams around the organization too. It's not like it's one organization's dominant. I mean, it's 2 organizations, but it's the same drivers within those organizations that's won all the races this year. So we'll just have to see who can break that streak.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something we're going to keep an eye on to see if and when Honda's dominance is ended at some point, and what track by Chevrolet. Speaking of Chevrolet drivers, and I'm going to use the adage for this team, not Penske perfect on Sunday night, to say the least. Not Penske perfect at all. Michael, you take a look at Team Penske's history at the World Wide Technology Raceway, and it's almost legendary. 9 wins between Paul Tracy, Gil DeFerrin, Elio Castroneves, or Joseph Newgarden with 5 wins by himself, and then Will Power as well. Also adding to their win total, they've also claimed 9 front row spots or poles there at World Wide Technology Raceway. So it did seem like Saturday night qualifying for Team Penske was pretty ho-hum. You had Will Power, who claimed the pole for Sunday night's race, while Scott McLaughlin in the number 3 Dex Imaging entry started right beside him in P2. And then you had Joseph Newgarden, who has had recent dominance at this track, ended up starting in the 5th position. Well, again, as I said about the Chevrolet team as a whole, the race told a different story. You had Scott McLaughlin ended up 24th. He did lead 51 laps, but then suffered a mechanical failure that forced his retirement from the race on lap 216. And then Joseph Newgarden finishing at 25th. He did take the lead on lap 104, but then obviously his race come to a fiery crash at the end there when Newgarden was unable to miss the spinning car of one Louis Foster. Newgarden ends up upside down, walks away without a scratch, but what a horrendous crash there for the number 2 team and Joseph Newgarden. And then Will Power, who finished dead last in 27th position, brought out the caution flag on lap 46 after making contact with the safer barrier heading into turn number 4. Seemed like maybe something on his right front tire broke. So Michael, obviously Team Penske, not Penske perfect on Sunday night. Is the rest of the field, you think, catching up with Team Penske when it comes to oval racing because they have been so dominant for so long, or was Sunday night just a fluke?
Sunday night is the difference in what happens when you fire 3 of your top leadership. That's at the end of the day, that's what's happening. You can tell that it's a little chaotic over there. We're not getting, information on who's leading the team up until, a couple of days before the race. Penske had all their big, management and everything over at Le Mans. So I think when you look at this, it's kind of like, I know Penske said that he's going to be hands off at the team, but at some point he's going to have to find a good leader at the organization to fill in for 3 people that he let go after, the Indy 500 scandal that we've talked so much about. So, I think right now it's leadership. I mean, you look at, silly things like mechanical issues that are happening. You look at Will Power's craziness. I still don't know if they know what happened to that car. I don't think it was a flat tire or anything. I think it was a mechanical failure as well. And then the Newgarden thing, that was just a fluke incident. And, I don't know if we'll talk about that, but we definitely need to dissect that incident a little bit more because there's a big problem with that. But, when I look at the overall situation with Penske, I think it's a leadership issue at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely can't disagree with that. It's going to be interesting to see moving forward. Figured out because it's. I know this isn't what Roger signed up for. I know he wants to be better than this, so definitely going to be interesting to see moving forward what Team Penske figures out here. My second takeaway from Sunday night's race, I have to commend all of the new drivers, new faces that we've seen that were floating or hanging around the top 10. It does seem like, Michael, this year we have witnessed a lot of new faces hovering around the leaderboard around those top 10 positions, and obviously Sunday was no different. You had Christian Rasmussen coming home 3rd. He did lead 1 lap. He scores his first career IndyCar podium after starting 25th in a 27-car field. Finishing 5th was Santino Ferrucci, who led 8 laps. He scored his 3rd consecutive top 5 finish of the season. Also, right behind him, Noblesville, Indiana native Connor Daly, who was out in front for 36 laps. He finishes P6. This is his best finish of the season. Rinus VK, surprised, finished right behind Connor Daly in 7th position. He was able to lead 1 lap as well. And then you had Marcus Armstrong coming home at 9th, and then rookie Robert Schwartzman in just his 2nd career oval race was able to bring home a 10th place finish for Prema Racing. So, Michael, discuss the new faces that we're seeing hovering around the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of that transition period in, the era. Kind of, you look at the older drivers, and I don't want to call them old, but you look at, your Scott Dixon, your Will Power, your Joseph Newgarden. While he's definitely not super old, I mean, he's been around a long time. But you mentioned 2 drivers that I don't know that. I mean, I feel like that they're very competitive on ovals, is Santino Ferrucci and Connor Daly. I mean, both those guys have that NASCAR kind of background, a little bit. Santino Ferrucci's had more experience than Connor Daly, but they're really good on ovals. They know how to work the traffic really well. So those 2 guys I mark towards. If we look at the betting aspect of it, if there was like a top 5, I'd definitely throw one of those guys in a top 5 most of the time. When I look at, Schwartzman, that's incredible for Prema. He showed what he can do at Indy, with the speed he can have. I think he could have had a better finish at Indy had he not, had the incident on pit road with his brakes. So I think he's showing the speed that they can produce on ovals. But yeah, when I look at Rasmussen as well, I mean, he's a growing guy in the series. I mean, he's there on social media. He's pumping out content. It's, he's showing his personality. That's what we really want. I know we've talked about it a lot. We want to see these drivers' personalities, and he's a good one. So I hope that he can continue to be successful.
Yeah, definitely love seeing the new faces hovering around the top 10. And then my last takeaway from the race on Sunday night, obviously the momentum that Kyle Kirkwood has in his corner right now. You could see it, Michael. You were there after his win in Detroit a few weeks back. Kyle Kirkwood, as I just mentioned, has all the momentum in his corner, and it's definitely showing the way he's driving lately. Only needing to lead 8 laps. Kirkwood was able to capture his 3rd win of the season, get that monkey off his back, and collect his first win on an oval, his fifth career win overall, and he is now just 2 points behind 2nd place Pato Award in the championship point standings, and he is just 75 points behind the current leader, Alex Palou. So talk about how dominant Kyle Kirkwood has been the last 2 races.
Yeah, I mean, as dominant as he's been, Pato's just been consistent. That's kind of the name of the game right now is who can be more consistent throughout the field, because whoever's most consistent is probably going to at least finish in the top 5 in points. You look at Pato. Pato is a very consistent driver. He reminds me, if he could get some more wins, he'd be a lot like Alex Palou, because he is consistent. Pato is. So I look at the consistency he has, but Kyle doesn't have the consistency. He's got the 3 wins now, which is good, but he could be closer to, Alex Palou if he had a little bit more consistency through the season. We are cutting into Pato's lead in the championship, which is good for the series. Will there be enough ovals for that to materialize? That will be the bigger question, because you talk about going to Road America. Well, he's good there too. So we'll just have to wait and see how we can cut into this lead. But yeah, Kirkwood's on a run. I mean, he's the only other driver besides Alex Palou to win a race this year, which, this many races in, I can't believe I'm saying that there's only been 2 different winners this year. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely impressive for Honda, to say the least, for sure. Results from Sunday night's race, if you did not see them, let's see if I can get them up on screen for everyone. Here you go. Obviously, Kyle Kirkwood was your winner, followed by Pato Award and Christian Rasmussen. Then following them was Scott Dixon, Santino Ferrucci, Connor Daly, Renus VK, Alex Palou, Marcus Armstrong, and Robert Schwartzman rounded out the top 10. Then it was Alexander Rossi, David Malukas, Marcus Ericsson, Christian Lundgaard, Kiffin Simpson, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, Callum Ilott, Nolan Siegel, and Stingray Robb round out your top 20. Then it was Jacob Abel, Graham Rahal, Devlin DeFrancesca, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, Louis Foster, and Will Power round out your 27 car field. Michael, results from Sunday. Who were you impressed with the most on their run this weekend?
Yeah, honestly, Renus VK. I mean, I'm still big on him and what he's doing with the 18 team. I know we talked about last year and how the dartboard was out and we're throwing darts, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's outperforming that equipment week in and week out. Unless there's a failure like he had at Detroit, I mean, he's up there. So that's definitely some team has got to be eyeing that guy and saying, how do we get him in our car next year? And that's going to be a big silly season situation. I know there's a lot of other drivers that, could, one domino falls and it's it's all chaos. So we'll see what happens, but he's impressed me all year, really. Just coming into an organization that last year was in shambles. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't even know if they had leadership going on over there. I don't know what Dale was doing, but it was atrocious over there last year. And to come in this year and be where he is exciting for the team. I mean, you could see at Indy the excitement, and even at Detroit, they just all had upbeat. You could just see the positivity in the team. So that's definitely a driver that I keep watching for every week. Marcus Armstrong coming back to an oval after his big crash at Indy. That was another good run for him, and good to see him back in the car running on an oval competitively.
Yeah, definitely can't agree with that. Again, like I said in the takeaway segment, love seeing those new faces hovering around the top 10. We're going to be joined here in the next upcoming minutes by INDY NXT by Firestone driver Dennis Hauger. But before he joins us, let's take a look at the up-to-date point standings as they sit right now. It is Alex Palou, followed by Pato Award, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenquist, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta, and rounding out the top 10, Marcus Armstrong. Then it is Santino Ferrucci, David Malukas, Alexander Rossi, Christian Rasmussen, Renus VK, Joseph Newgarden, Connor Daly, Graham Rahal. Where did I go? Right there. Marcus Ericsson and Kiffin Simpson round out the top 20. Then it is Nolan Siegel, Robert Schwartzman, Stingray Robb, Louis Foster, Devlin DeFrancesca, Callum Ilott, and Jacob Abel round out the full-time 27 cars that make up the NTT IndyCar Series. Michael, looking at the points, does anybody jump out at you that had a great points day there on Sunday night?
No, not necessarily, but what does strike me is the difference in the points, between the teammates. I know that's how we kind of benchmark everyone. And who would have thought? I know I just talked about him, Renus VK. He's ahead of Joseph Newgarden in the point system or in the point standing. So that's pretty interesting in itself. So, that just goes to show how terrible Joseph Newgarden's season's been. But man, the teammate battles are very, very interesting to me. And the one that, has to strike everyone, if you've been following IndyCar for a while, for at least the last 3 years, is, we love him here on this show. And I know Josh's favorite driver is Stingray Robb, but man, he is, he's almost at the bottom in points again. It's like, what does he need to pull himself out of that bottom run?
Yeah, definitely. It's been, like you mentioned, first, it's been a tough season for Joseph Newgarden. And it's interesting to see where he is at in points. And then you mentioned right there, Stingray Robb. What does he have to do? We thought maybe potentially he had turned the corner earlier in the season, but maybe it's all for naught. Maybe we jumped the gun a little too early because he just isn't climbing in the points as we thought Stingray would. Michael, I know you said you've been under the weather. Were you able to get together your article? I know that'll be published maybe tomorrow or the upcoming day about the winners and losers from Sunday night's race.
Yes, I have winners and losers. I can run through them. We pretty much talked about a lot of them, which is always good. I know we kind of have the same mental. I think we're connected somehow when it comes to IndyCar because we always kind of hit on the same level there. But I had in the winners category Honda, Christian Rasmussen. We talked pretty much about that. Robert Schwartzman coming back from the chaos at Indy to be back in the top 10 on the Noval. Connor Daly, just the speed he had, with his background a little bit in NASCAR and the old karting days for Connor Daly out here. But the one we didn't touch on is the fans. The fans that showed out to World Wide Technology Raceway. Man, what a show they got. Great for everyone that watched on Fox. That was just a great race for prime time. I didn't love that it was a Sunday night race. I'm not gonna lie. Sunday night at 8:00 of all times. So run pretty late into the evening. I'm the old grandpa here that goes to bed at 7:00 most nights. So it is late for a race, but it was under the lights. That transition from day to night always throws a good wrench into a race as far as strategy. So the fans got to see something special. Unfortunately for Joseph Newgarden, they got to see that flip on the front stretch, which is scary. It's even scarier in person. You see it on TV and you're like, oh my goodness, what happened? In person, it's even worse. So, and then losers. We talked about Team Penske. The two I have on here is Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. Good grief, they need some luck as well. I know Devlin DeFrancesco, he hit the wall and got hit by a cameraman, so he had a rough night. I look at besides Pato Award, you've got a whole mess. In the month of May come and Christian Lundgaard fell off the map. So he was on fire. He's second in the points. It was basically who everyone was talking about, competing for Pato Award, and then the month of May come, or I'm sorry, not Pato Award, Alex Palou, and the month of May come, and we haven't heard or seen from Christian Lundgaard since. So, and then we look at his teammate Nolan Siegel. I mean, he's still. I know it was announced that they're keeping the same trio for next year. But, man, they have got to be scratching their heads thinking, did they make the right choice with Nolan Siegel when they had Theo Pourchaire in their cars as well, and they had Callum Ilott in their cars. So did they make the right choice? Only time will tell. And then we look at that Joseph Newgarden crash, and I believe that crash could have been avoided. And that's because the officials waited way too long to throw the caution. I don't know the exact timing, but Louis Foster was in the wall for probably at least 5 to 6 seconds before he comes spinning down, right into Newgarden's path. So I feel like officiating missed a call on that one and probably cost Newgarden. Yeah, that's where I am on the winners and losers from this past weekend. I'd like to know if you think the officiating had any issues. You think the officiating was I don't know what your call would be on that, but that's where I stood on the officiating.
I think I'm in the same corner You are, and obviously we're waiting for Dennis Hauger of INDY NXT by Firestone to join us. But yeah, I'm right there with you. In Joseph Newgarden's defense, obviously there was nowhere for him to go. So this crash was very, very unavoidable on his side. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We could Tuesday night quarterback this all we want, I guess. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, I'm glad to see Joseph Newgarden was able to walk away. Let's present that first and foremost. Glad to see he was able to walk away. But Michael, if you're an official on the NTT IndyCar series, how do you change that sequence of events there from an official standpoint?
So I've been to Gateway or World Wide Technology. I'll mess that up until I stop talking IndyCar or NASCAR or whatever. But until where race control is at Gateway, I'm not sure. I would say more spotters in the corners would be good if that was an issue, because I did go back and dissect the crash a little bit, and when you look at where Foster hits the wall and and it's dark and he's in a darker car, if you're up in the tower on the main stretch, you're not going to see that looking down there. So corner workers would be helpful hopefully if they did have corner workers, they can point that out quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see what changes are made going forward. But I did mention that we would be joined later in the show by INDY NXT by Firestone driver Dennis Hauger, and sure enough, he is here. Dennis, first and foremost, huge thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedule from this past weekend to join us. And first and foremost, before we get into your race this past weekend, tell our fans, audience, a little bit about yourself.
I'm with Andretti this season for the INDY NXT series. And yeah, going well so far, leading the championship. Obviously, the goal is to reach IndyCar. Started as a kid with racing, got my first squad when I was 2, motocross 4, and karting 5, and it's kept on going from there. And now we're here fighting for the championship. So super excited about the season, and it's going well so far.
When you started in INDY NXT, coming from the different F series, what was your biggest adjustments that you had to make from one cockpit to the next?
Coming especially from F2 last year and into the INDY NXT series this year, it's been a bit different. But I'm loving it over here. I'm currently living in the US, in Indianapolis, and just working hard with the team. But it's a bit different, but really enjoying it, the atmosphere and just the sort of vibes over here. But yeah, with the car and everything, the weight, the F2 car is quite a bit heavier than the INDY NXT car. But also on the other hand, it makes the driving style a bit different, which have suited me quite well this season, to be honest. Just driving style fits me nice with this car, and just felt quite natural. So it's a bit of a change, but we kept on quite quickly, and we managed to get ahead of things early on. So I'm happy about that, and it's going well so far.
Coming up this weekend, Dennis, is the Grand Prix of Road America for INDY NXT. I know you've probably been in the sim, on the Road America course. Tell us, the viewers, listeners that may have not been to Road America, what that course is like, and is it comparable to any of the courses that you've been on before?
It's probably the most most European track, I would say, which hopefully will get into my wheelhouse. But I've never been there. I haven't tested there either, so it's going to be a new track for me. And yeah, it's going to be important to get up to speed early, but it's a long track, the longest one on the calendar. I think with almost two minutes per lap. A lot of long straights. I think there's going to be a lot of fighting, and it's going to be important to be strategic about how you use your push to pass, especially in the race until the end. And coming from an oval, it's going to be a bit of a different one. So I think it's going to be super cool. It's one of those tracks I've seen since I was a kid. I've known since I was a kid, but never been to before. So it's going to be really cool to see how we get on.
Dennis, I know you've collected 4 wins this season. It seems like the INDY NXT season has kind of went along the same lines as what the NTT IndyCar season has been. You've had the races. It's either been you or Lockie Hughes has won, and then you look over at IndyCar and it's either been Alex Palou or Kyle Kirkwood. Talk about the 4 wins that you collected this year. Is there one so far that is more meaningful to you than any other?
Not really, just taking it race by race. I mean, the first one was obviously a pretty good one. Just getting the season off on the right foot and building some momentum. I think that was very important, and it was a good clarification for me and the team that we're here to fight for the championship early on. But hopefully the best one is yet to come. We still got a lot of races left this season, so yeah, hopefully we can get a few more and have the best one at the end of the season.
Our current guest, if you're just joining us, is current points leader on the INDY NXT by Firestone series, Dennis Hauger. Michael, any questions for Dennis right now?
Yeah, Dennis, thanks for joining us this evening. My big question is how much do you rely or basically help your teammates help you coming into a weekend to help you prepare for that?
Honestly, the team has been a big part of the success so far. Just getting me prepared, working with my engineer Andy to sort of get all the details into the weekend before we get on. A few rule differences and just how the weekend goes in terms of rhythm is a bit different. So yeah, that's been a big part of just getting used to it straight away. And I got good teammates to compare with, work hard with to get each other up to the top as a team. And I think that's been really important as well. We had the first oval last week. And I think one of the good drivers in the ovals was Salvador, just having a lot of experience on the ovals. And I think that was a learnful experience, having a sort of experienced guy on that side. And yeah, we just push each other. It's a good rhythm for everyone, and we're working hard, all of us, to win, obviously. But doing that as a team is an important one.
And then how much oval experience do you have besides, the testing and then this past weekend?
0, to be honest. We had the test in Nashville, and then we had one test in Iowa. So 2 days of testing total this season. And yeah, that's it. Before we had the first oval race last week, which was pretty intense. Qualifying, that was awesome. Just the build up, going out one by one, and the qualifying itself for me was under 2 minutes. You have to go out there and just make it happen and send it, which was really cool. A bit different, but I really enjoyed it. And the racing itself is also really cool. A lot of passing. I think there was like 163 passes throughout the race. I think I still have a few things to work on, and I think it was a solid start to the oval career. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one to just build on this and try to take it a step forward for the next time.
Awesome. And last question from me is, what's the difference between, a road course in, Europe or Spain or overseas versus road courses here in America?
Um, I would say it's a bit more old school, some of the tracks. I mean, like Road America and Indy GP is probably the most similar to the European tracks. But a lot of the other ones, like Mid Ohio, Laguna Seca, I would say they're a bit more old school. You know, you have gravel or grass on the outside. So if you do a mistake, you get really punished for it. So I feel like those margins become smaller on these type of tracks, and I think that's really cool. Cool part of the racing over here, and it just makes the racing more pure, in my opinion. So yeah, it's been really cool. We got Road America, Mid Ohio coming up the next 3 weeks now, and overall, so it's gonna be some legendary tracks to go to and experience for the first time. So I'm gonna have a good few weeks coming up.
Well, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you for inviting me, guys.
Dennis, last question that I have before we let you go, so you can prepare for Road America this weekend. What was it like growing up, watching racing on TV? You know, maybe watching the Indianapolis 500, and you as a young lad sitting there going, "That's going to be me one day." On the infamous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, competing for the Borg Warner Trophy in IndyCar. Dennis, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, watching TV as a kid, watching F1 and Indy 500, NASCAR. Honestly, I was watching anything about racing that was on TV. I was watching it. My first start number was actually number 24 with Jeff Gordon, actually, when watching NASCAR. And watching the Indy 500, it's one of the things you just see as a kid that you want to do when you grow up and have as a goal. And you work your whole life. Most of the drivers in the field, we work our whole life to achieve that goal. And now we're so close. I'm so close, working my ass off to achieve it, to get there. And I just have to keep on building what I've done so far this season. It's going well, and we just need to stay calm and keep pushing.
Great stuff, Dennis. Again, as I mentioned earlier, huge thank you for carving out some time in your busy schedule this week to join us on here. Definitely look forward to what's going to be in store for you, not only this season, but next. And good luck going forward, and especially this weekend at Road America.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Again, our guest was Dennis Hauger, INDY NXT by Firestone driver and current points leader. Again, we thank him for joining us, Michael. Definitely a bright future, I think, is in store there for Dennis, if it's an IndyCar, F1, whatever he chooses to put his mind to.
Yeah, I mean, the talent he has is pretty amazing, and it's incredible to see what he can do in a race car. Just watching him on the streets of Detroit was, in person was really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you just tuned in and you missed our interview with Dennis Hauger, make sure you go back and check it out because definitely a bright future is in store for Dennis for sure. All right, before we flip the page, we close the book on the Bommarito Automotive Group 500, and we look forward this weekend to the Expel Grand Prix of Road America. Let's thank a couple sponsors that make it possible for the Push to Pass podcast to come to you week in and week out. First and foremost, huge thank you to Always Ready 1776 for all your patriotic apparel and more. Go check out Always Ready 1776, and you can find them on the World Wide Web at alwaysready1776.com. And if you do find something that you're interested in buying, as always, make sure you use that promo code that you see up there on your screen, Push to Pass, for 10% off of your order. Remember, Always Ready 1776. Also, another proud sponsor of the Push to Pass podcast is Get 'em Associates. For all your home design, build, and remodeling needs, remember, it's Get 'em Associates. And you can find them on the web as well at getem.com. And if you do choose to use one of their services, make sure you use the promo code you see down at the bottom of your screen there, Push to Pass, for $250 off any design service. Huge thank you both to Always Ready 1776 and Get 'em Associates for being proud sponsors of the Push to Pass podcast. All right, getting back to the business at hand here. I know in the next few minutes, if we have not already, we're going to be joined in our betting segment by Mike. Can't wait to hear what his bets did this weekend for the Bommarito Automotive Group 500, and then he will also preview the Grand Prix at Road America this weekend as well. So let's start that here. And the first thing that we have for you is obviously we always put up the track map and facts. So let me get to that slide, which should be right here. There it is. That is what the course looks like there at Road America. Established in 1955, Road America is located midway between Milwaukee and Green Bay in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Its legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit has challenged the world's best racers for over a half century. The 640-acre park-like grounds offers amazing viewing opportunities, fantastic concessions, and high-speed excitement to thousands of spectators each year. In addition to public race weekends, such as the Expel Grand Prix of Road America, the track offers group event programs, the Road America Motorplex for karting and supermoto, and the Road America Motorcycle and Advanced Driving Schools. So that is what the course is going to look like this weekend for not only both the NTT IndyCar Series, but INDY NXT by Firestone as well. All right, moving on from that, we will get to, the schedule. Yes, that is the important part of this upcoming weekend as well. What the schedule is going to look like. So let me make it just a tad bit bigger. There we go. Schedule for the NTT IndyCar Series is going to go as follows. Everything's going to get kicked off June 20th on Friday at 4:30. That is when first practice for the Expel Grand Prix of Road America. Then Saturday, a busy Saturday at 11 a.m., things get kicked off with practice number 2. Then at 2:30, that is going to be qualifying to set the field for the Expel Grand Prix at Road America. Then on Sunday, we'll have a quick warm-up at 10 a.m. And then at 1:30 on Fox, that is when the green flag drops for the Expel Grand Prix Road America. So we were just talking about our betting segment being right around the bend, and sure enough, Mike has dropped in. I know he had a prior obligation last week, so he was not able to make it, but I am curious to hear about how Mike's bets went last weekend at the World Wide Technology Raceway and what to look for this weekend at Road America. Mike, nice to have you back.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, last week was a weird race. My bet pretty simply. It was I put all my eggs in McLaughlin and O'Ward and bet them both to win and bet them the top 3. And that was pretty much it. I did some besides, grid rival stuff. So when Newgarden crashed, I was like, this is great. It's basically seemed like a drag race between O'Ward, McLaughlin, and Malukas. I was trying to find ways to bet Malukas. I just couldn't figure it out. I put him on my fantasy team, and that was about it. But yeah, it was. I thought it was going to be a sweep. I figured either O'Ward or McLaughlin would win, and then the other one would come in top 3, and McLaughlin had the mechanical failure. So still cashed a O'Ward top 3 Didn't get the win. I don't even know how Kirkwood won the race. Like I got in my notes for next year, like not even to pay that any mind. It was just a kind of weird race, and how it played out with some of those penalties and everything else. But from a betting perspective, the paddle top three made it less of a losing week, just a small loss. So no big deal. We'll move on from there. But these short tracks, like it's very clear. Like I think Newgarden would have won the race if it wasn't for just some very bad luck. Uh, with I think it was Foster crashing. So yeah, something to note for later. Penske obviously still has it when it comes to these short ovals. And when it comes to Iowa, I'm going to unload the dump truck on Jay New again. Because he's just the man to beat on these short ovals. He just knows how to work them, and they still got the setup. Same with McLaughlin and Award, honestly. So I think it's just easy to bet you can fade Pillow and move on. So. But not the case this week. We're back to Road America, back to street circuit, or excuse me, road course circuits, and back to finding ways either for Pillow to screw us out of winning money or to win money by just betting Pillow. So I saw the odds just now. DraftKings dropped the first set of odds. Pillow's your favorite. I'm gonna do this by memory. It was 2.5 to 1 on Pillow, followed by J-New at 4.5 to 1, and then I believe it was McLaughlin 5.5 after that, and then I think there was a couple of guys, Power Award in the 7 to 1 range. Some interesting long shots, I thought, right off the bat. Lundgaard 20 to 1, Ericsson 40 to 1. Kind of caught my eye. I wonder what their top three numbers are going to be. Rosenquist, I think, was 40 to 1. So maybe, I'm not usually betting those, but maybe for top three, if they're going to give me 10 to 1 or 7, 8, 9 to 1 on that, that's something to look at. I haven't seen any top three odds drop just yet, but I think it's back to, I'm going to be looking to see what Pillow's top three number is before quals. Last year, this was a Penske sweep. This is a Penske track, but Penske's, I don't know, something's wrong with Penske. They just, I don't know, Roger sold his soul to the devil or something. Something going on, but they're struggling, and but I think a lot of that's just bad luck, a little bit of randomness. So I'll probably be betting again some form of pick two Penske's and maybe a Pillow top three, and then roll with that. But Pillow's just going to continue to dominate, and then I wouldn't be surprised. Like Newgarden loves this track. I think he's got some great history at it. Everything screams he's probably a bet at 5 to 1 pre-quals for me. But I'll make that decision in a couple days. There you go. That's the preview.
Interesting, Mike. In my takeaways, I talked about the struggles that Penske had on Sunday, which were a reverse split, so to say, in baseball, because you see the dominance that Team Penske had prior to Sunday's race. Do you think what happened to Penske on an oval, is that just a fluke, or maybe is that something that we're going to see going forward? To Michael's point about that, the way the leadership now has been shuffled at Team Penske. So is this just going to be a fluke, or is this something that we're going to see moving forward, do you think?
Well, let me ask you this: what did they come out and say what exactly happened to McLaughlin's car?
Let me go back in my notes here.
While you look at that,
that I had,
Joseph's thing was random. Like
him on Sunday. Let me see because I know I got the email from the not head director, but track director there at World Wide Technology Raceway. And I know they explained what happened to each of the Chevy drivers that were knocked out on Sunday. So let me go back to the article that I had, and I'll skim through it, and specifically what it says about what it says about McLaughlin. It just says that after leading 51 laps, he suffered a mechanical failure that forced his retirement on lap 216. So they were calling it a mechanical failure. I imagine that's probably layman's terms, so I'm not sure what getting down to the nuts and bolts exactly what happened, but they were calling it a mechanical failure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to hear more details about that. Joseph's thing was just a total fluke. He was dominating the race. There was nothing that has nothing to do. You gotta like sort through that noise there. That thing had nothing to do with Penske leadership or strategy. Like I still haven't seen them mess up any strategy. The power thing, the tire, like I probably think power probably grazed the wall, knowing power and did something. Like I don't. I think most of that is randomness and noise, and I don't think it's going to keep me from betting the cars and the drivers when they're at tracks that they're good at.
All right, definitely look forward to the rest of the week. The information that I know when you get your hands on it from whatever sports book sends stuff out. I know you'll put it out on X or on Twitter, and then not sure if you or Tony or both of you are going to collaborate on something before Sunday. But if people again don't follow you, and as I always say, shame on them if they don't. If they want the best betting strategy on IndyCar, I think you have it there. But again, if people don't follow you, where can they catch your work at?
Sorry, boys. Don't know if you can hear me. I lost you on my end, but we will. Oh, you can hear me good. All right. Well, hey, I can't hear you, but I'll just tell you, like, just to wrap up on this one, like, keep an eye on Twitter. I'll post the card. I'll be watching the qualifying and practice this week pretty closely, listen to what the drivers have to say. But yeah, I think it's look to bet the Penske cars and then find if you can see if they drop a Pelot number, a top three, anything less than 150. He's dominant. He's the guy. I think we get back on the Pelot dominating train again this weekend more than likely. So that'll be what I'm looking to bet, and we'll try to make some money again this weekend.
Mike, good stuff as always. But before I let you go, how was your U.S. Open bets this weekend?
I had bets on. I had a ticket on Scott, which I was rooting hard. That would have been a nice payday. So I did all right. I made more money than I lost on the U.S. Open this weekend. So it would have been really, really great if Adam Scott could have won. But it was fun to watch. I like JJ Spawn. But yeah, I love betting golf. Golf's one of my favorite sports to play myself. So yeah, it was always fun, and you can find me in the golf betting streets as well. So would have been better if Scott won, even Burns. But JJ's okay. It was fun. It was cool to watch.
Again, good stuff as always.
All right, man. I'll see you. Lost you there.
There we go. Technical snafu on my end. So a huge thank you for Mike for joining us. And I do see that our next guest has stepped into the room. So let me bring him up. Sorry for the delay, but it is time to get the first look at what the weather is going to do this weekend in Wisconsin, and who other than IndyCar weatherman to give us that. Weatherman, what you got for us this weekend?
Hey, good evening, guys. Thanks for having me on. So I got basically three main weather impacts to talk about. There's a potential for rain, temps, which is probably going to wind up being the bigger story for the weekend, and then winds. So Friday, we do have an opportunity for some showers to move through the area. So that's something that could impact that initial practice session. And then as we get into Saturday, I'm watching another area of stronger storms that for now, you can see I listed that on the image there. For now, it looks like that's going to wind up carrying north of the Road America area. So best chances for rain over the weekend looks like it's going to be Friday, kind of Friday afternoon, evening. We need to kind of keep an eye on Saturday and see if that may change, if some of that maybe drops a little further south over the next couple days as we move forward. And then for now, Sunday looks rain-free, and that's been pretty consistent so far. As for temperatures, so Friday looks like it'll probably be the most comfortable of those 3 days for the event. And then we're going to see the heat kind of jump to a different level Saturday and Sunday. So in this initial forecast, I was kind of thinking we were looking mid to upper 80s. But honestly, as I was just kind of reviewing some of the latest projected data coming in, and a lot of it's actually running even hotter. So I may be a little bit cool with these temps on that initial look, and we might be closer to the 90s. So that might be an adjustment that comes out in my future forecasts. And the issue with that, right, isn't just the 90s. It's that it's a very humid, almost tropical-like air mass that is moving in over the weekend. So that translates to your feels like temperatures, or what you call the heat index, being up close to 100 degrees. So not the best situation for drivers, teams, or even fans. And then, when you take that kind of oppressive heat and you combine it to what looks like some pretty gusty wind conditions, both Saturday and on race day on Sunday, it could be a pretty challenging race environment as we go into the weekend.
Great technology. Great technology again. Let me try this for the third time this evening. Do you think there will be a change in the weather in between now and race day?
Yeah. So again, it's Tuesday, so things adjust and change, especially when you're trying to time out some of these systems as we get into the Saturday timeframe. So definitely, I would keep an eye on kind of what happens with those storms on Saturday as a potential. And as I kind of mentioned, I think I'm going to wind up adjusting those temperatures up a little bit. So that's probably the biggest adjustment or change. And I'll say folks out there can find me on X. You just search up IndyCar Weatherman and my feed should pop right up. And I'm also cross-posting these products over to Threads and over on Blue Sky. And it looks like our hosts are still having some technical difficulties. But that's it. Check out the forecast and stay abreast of any updates. And for fans attending, hydrate now.
Weatherman, good stuff as always. Thank you for getting through the technical snafus on our end, and definitely look forward to a race weekend, hopefully dry, but we'll keep our fingers crossed, and I'm sure if there's a change in the weather, you'll be the first to get on it. So again, a huge thank you, and we'll talk to you again later down the road.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good night.
All right, go check out the Weatherman there on Twitter. As you see his Twitter or X handles going around the bottom of the screen. All right, getting back to previewing this weekend's race at Road America. We just have a few things left. We got some news and notes, and then we will get on out of here for the evening. The last thing we have to do in our preview is past winners of the race. I know Mike touched on this a little bit ago, but you have Will Power in 2024, 2016, Alex Palou 2023 and 2021, Joseph Newgarden 2022, 2018, Felix Rosenquist 2020, Scott Dixon 2020, 2017, and Alexander Rossi in 2019. So those are your previous winners at Road America. Michael, before we get to the news and notes and we get on out of here, anything that you want to preview or touch on when it comes to Road America this weekend?
Just that it's a very long lap and a lot can happen in a short period of time there. So long lap, very, very long lap. I think the track, I think you said it's about 4 miles long. So yeah, long lap, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, obviously we will be waiting with bated breath this weekend to see who is maybe the next winner on the NTT IndyCar Series, or will it be again Alex Palou or Kyle Kirkwood taking the win? Before we get on out of here, we do have some news and notes to go over, particularly the viewership. Michael, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but Fox Sports PR earlier today did release viewership for Sunday night's race at World Wide Technology Raceway. And obviously, you know, it's a good sign that Fox's ratings took another big hike this past weekend with 1,012,000 viewers that watched Kyle Kirkwood win Sunday's thrilling Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at World Wide Technology Raceway on Fox. I know earlier you touched on the crowd. I'll let you expand on that if you would here momentarily. But the viewership on Fox was up 88% from last year's race on NBC that only drew 537,000 viewers. That is up 17% from last year's 863,000 viewers that viewed the 8th race of the NTT IndyCar Series, which was Road America last year. The 8th race this year was what we just witnessed on Sunday with the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. The race peaked just as it kicked off by 1,066,000 viewers from 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. Eastern time. And then, Michael, through 8 races this season, the IndyCar on Fox is averaging 2,007,000 viewers. That is up 27% from last year when they were averaging 1,577,000 viewers. So ratings definitely on the up and up since the move from Fox earlier this season.
Yeah, we highly talked about how much Fox can do, and having the race on the same channel, you know, consistently is always good for fans. So good numbers. I would have liked to have seen a little bit higher. I wonder what could have happened had that race started around 7 Eastern time instead of 8. I think 8 was just too late, to be honest. But, you know, especially with Monday not being a holiday for most people. So, yeah, Sunday night race is going to be hard without a holiday after it. But yeah, I was shocked at the attendance, and kind of, you know, we touched on that a little bit earlier, but yeah, the attendance was really good. Looking at the stands, and I know a lot of people were pretty excited about how many people were there. So good turnout, and second oval of the year. Can't wait for a couple more. We got Iowa coming up, and Milwaukee, and Nashville as well. So ready for the ovals, and this just shows that fans are clamoring for more ovals. We've talked about it before. If you want more ovals, you want more races, show up, and the fans are doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point there. Michael, before we drop the checkered flag on another episode of the Push to Pass podcast, is there anything else that we may have missed or did not cover this evening that you would like to touch on?
Yeah, one last thing I would like to touch on is Will Power scoring the P1 award there at Gateway. That was Roger Penske and Team Penske's 700th pole across their division of racing series. So that's a pretty high honor there. I know we've kind of beat them down this year so far, but 700 poles across all series of racing that they're involved in. So pretty spectacular.
Yeah, great way to end. Congratulations to Roger Penske and all of those drivers within the Team Penske stable that were able to help capture that milestone. Again, with that does it for another episode of the Push to Pass podcast. If you missed any of tonight's episode, especially having INDY NXT driver Dennis Hauger on, I highly advise to go back and watch that. You will thoroughly enjoy that 100%. Also, too, if you have not done so yet, you see the different social medias that you can find the Push to Pass podcast on. Definitely go give them a like, give them a subscription, especially on the YouTube, because that helps us out tremendously. Also, huge shout out over to all of the viewers on YouTube, Facebook, and X this evening. Great job over there. A huge thank you to INDY NXT driver Dennis Hauger for joining us. Again, go back and check out his interview. You will like that. I guarantee it. For myself and Michael and Josh and everyone else that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, we will be back in 1 week's time to discuss and break down what we witnessed at Road America. Until then, so long, everybody.
The NTT IndyCar Series is back on track.
Boy, he was shot out of a cannon. A darting move to the outside of Kyle Kirkwood. He will easily clear him into turn number 1.
3, 2, and he will hit his mark. They fuel him up, down and away. Good stop. 6.8.
Crowd starting to come to its feet watching Will Power trying to get win number 40 in his career. Listen to the NTT IndyCar Series at Road America, live Sunday, June 22nd.